The smoke appears first, black smoke, rising from the tree line 300 meters west. Then the sound, not explosions, something else, a roar, like wind through a tunnel, getting louder. Nguyen Thi Lan is 28 years old. February 8th, 1968. She's standing in her family's rice paddy in Tan Phuong village, Quang Tri province. Her son, Nguyen Van Tuan, age 2, is on her back, wrapped in cloth, sleeping. She sees the smoke, hears the roar, looks up. 4 aircraft, low, maybe 200 meters altitude, silver, American markings, A4 Skyhawks. She's seen them before. Everyone in Tan Phuong has. The aircraft come often, drop bombs on the hills where the North Vietnamese army hides. The bombs fall far from the village, usually. But these aircraft aren't flying toward the hills. They're flying toward the village, toward the rice paddies, toward her. She starts running toward her house, 50 meters away. The first canister falls at 8:47 hours, tumbles, silver cylinder, 500 pounds, filled with 110 gallons of Napalm B, gasoline mixed with polystyrene and benzene. It hits 80 meters from where Lan is running, ruptures on impact. The napalm spreads, ignites. Temperature, 2,200 degrees Fahrenheit. The fire doesn't spread like normal fire. It explodes outward, flash ignition. Everything within 50 meters catches fire instantly. Lan feels the heat, like opening an oven, like standing too close to a forge. The air burns her lungs. She keeps running. Her son wakes up, starts crying. She doesn't stop. The second canister hits 40 meters behind her. The third hits the village center. The fourth hits the eastern rice paddies. In 90 seconds, 400 meters of Tan Phuong village is burning. What happens in the next 10 minutes will kill 47 people. What happens over the next 50 years will prove that the US military knew Tan Phuong was a civilian village, that they bombed it anyway, and that when survivors tried to tell their story, nobody believed them until an American sergeant's photographs surfaced in 2015, proving every detail they'd been saying for 5 decades was true. This is the story of what Vietnamese civilians remember about the day American aircraft burned their village. What they said happened versus what US military reports said happened, and how one American soldier's hidden photographs taken the day after the strike proved that the official narrative was a lie. If you want more stories that show what war looks like from the other side, the villages, the families, the people who lived there, hit subscribe right now, because Lan is running with her son on her back. 4 napalm canisters are burning, and in 3 days, a US patrol will arrive and document what they find. And what they document will disappear into classified files for 47 years, until the photographs resurface and force the US government to admit what happened. Tan Phuong village sits in Quang Tri province, 15 kilometers south of the DMZ. Population in 1968, approximately 180 people, 43 families. Most are farmers, rice paddies, vegetable gardens, a few water buffalo, simple houses made of wood and thatch. The village has existed for generations. The same families living on the same land their grandparents farmed, the same rice paddies, the same wells. The war reaches Tan Phuong slowly. First in 1965, American aircraft fly overhead. Helicopters pass by, the villagers watch. Wonder what it means. In 1966, the war gets closer. Bombs fall in the hills west of the village. The villagers hear explosions, see smoke, but the village itself remains untouched. By 1967, the North Vietnamese army moves into the area, small units. They don't stay in the village, they camp in the hills, in the jungle, use the trails. Sometimes they come to the village for food, rice, vegetables. The villagers give it. Not because they support the NVA, because refusing means trouble. The Americans know the NVA uses the area. They conduct operations, send patrols, call in airstrikes on suspected NVA positions. The villagers learn to read the signs. When they hear aircraft, they listen for where the bombs fall. If the bombs fall in the hills, they're safe. If the bombs fall closer, they hide. On February 8th, 1968, the bombs fall on the village. It's a normal morning. Clear sky, warm. The rice planting season is ending. Most villagers are in the paddies, working, children playing, old people sitting in shade. Nguyen Thi Lan is in the western paddies with her son Tuan. Her husband, Nguyen Van Hai, is in the eastern paddies. Her daughter, Nguyen Thi Mai, age 5, is at home with Lan's mother-in-law. Tran Van Duke, age 45, is working his family's paddy 100 meters from Lan. His wife and 3 children are with him. Lê Thi Hoa, age 38, is at the village well with 6 other women, washing clothes, talking, their children playing nearby. Pham Van Min, age 52, is repairing his house, replacing thatch roof damaged in recent storm. Everyone is doing normal things. Normal day. At 0846, Tran Van Duke hears aircraft, looks up, sees 4 A4 Skyhawks approaching from the east, low altitude, close. He thinks they're flying to the hills, going to bomb NVA positions, like usual. But the aircraft don't turn toward the hills. They fly straight towards the village. Duke yells, "Aircraft, get down!" The villagers in the paddies look up. Some start running. Some drop to the ground. Some freeze. At 0847, the first canister falls. Duke sees it. Silver cylinder, tumbling. Falls 200 meters from where he's standing. Hits a rice paddy. Ruptures. Napalm sprays out. 110 gallons. Spreads in all directions. Ignites immediately. The fire spreads faster than Duke can process. 1 second. Impact. Next second. Fire covering 50 meters. The rice paddy is burning. The dikes are burning. The water is burning. Napalm floats on water, burns on top of the surface. The chemical mixture is designed that way. Can't be extinguished by water. Duke sees 3 people in that paddy. They were working 30 meters from impact. Now they're surrounded by fire. One tries to run. The fire catches him. He's engulfed in seconds, falls, doesn't get up. The second drops into the water. The fire burns on top. He's underwater, can't breathe, comes up. The fire is still there. He goes back under, comes up again. Same thing. He's drowning or burning. He burns. The third stands frozen, doesn't move. The fire reaches him. He catches fire, falls. Duke is 100 meters away, watches this happen in maybe 20 seconds. Can't help, can't do anything, just watches. The second canister hits while he's watching, hits the village center, where the houses are, where families live. Lê Thi Hoa is at the well, 40 meters from impact. She sees the canister fall, sees it rupture, sees the napalm spray out. The napalm hits 2 houses, both explode into flames. Instant. The thatch roofs ignite like paper. The wooden frames burn like kindling. The fire spreads to adjacent houses. 4 houses burning within 30 seconds. Hoa sees people running from the houses. Women, children, old people, some on fire. Flames trailing behind them, running, screaming, falling. She runs toward them, tries to help, gets close enough to feel the heat. It's unbearable, like standing in front of a furnace. She can't get closer. She sees a child, maybe 6 years old, on fire, rolling on the ground. The fire doesn't go out. Rolling doesn't work with napalm. The gel sticks. The child keeps rolling, keeps burning, stops moving. Hoa starts screaming, not words, just screaming. The third canister hits the eastern paddies, where Nguyen Van Hai is working, Lan's husband. Lan is running from the western paddies toward her house. She hears the explosion behind her, turns, sees fire in the east. That's where Hai is. That's where her husband is working. She stops, torn. Her son is on her back. Her daughter is at the house ahead. Her husband is in the fire behind. She makes a decision, keeps running toward the house, toward safety. The fourth canister hits 30 meters behind her. She feels the heat, feels the pressure wave, keeps running. She reaches her house at 0849. 2 minutes after the first canister hit, the house is still standing, not on fire. Her daughter Mai is in the doorway, crying, scared. Lan's mother-in-law is holding Mai. The old woman says, "We have to leave, now." They run. Away from the village, east, toward the jungle, away from the fire. Lan looks back. The village is burning, black smoke rising. She can hear screaming. She looks for Hai, doesn't see him, keeps running. They reach the tree line 200 meters from the village. Stop, look back. Half the village is on fire, maybe 20 houses burning. The rice paddies are burning. The fire is spreading. Lan stands there, Tuan on her back, Mai holding her hand. Her mother-in-law beside her, watching their village burn. She doesn't know where Hai is, doesn't know if he's alive. Other villagers reach the tree line, running from the fire, some injured, burns, smoke inhalation, broken bones from falling while running. Tran Van Duke reaches the tree line. His wife and 2 of his children are with him. He's looking for his youngest son, age 8. Was in the paddies. Duke doesn't see him, keeps looking, doesn't see him. Leti Hoa reaches the tree line. Her daughter is with her. Her 2 sons are missing. They were playing near the houses, near where the napalm hit. She doesn't see them, starts to go back. Others stop her. The fire is too intense. She can't go back. For 10 minutes, the villagers stand at the tree line, watching the fire, counting who's there, counting who's missing. The fire burns for 40 minutes, then starts to die down, runs out of fuel. The rice paddies are black, the houses are gone, just charred frames and ash. At 09:30, survivors start going back, looking for family, looking for friends, looking for anyone who might need help. What they find is worse than the fire. Bodies burned. Some in the paddies, some in the houses, some in the open between the paddies and houses. All burned. Most curled into fetal position. That's what extreme heat does. Contracts the muscles. Everyone who dies in fire ends up like that. Lan goes back looking for Hai, finds him in the eastern paddies. 40 meters from where the third canister hit, he's burned, dead, face down in the charred rice paddy. She kneels beside him, can't touch him, he's still hot. She sits there, Tuan on her back, Mai beside her, looking at her husband's body. She's 28 years old, widow, 2 children, no husband, no house, no rice paddy, nothing. Tran Van Duke finds his youngest son. The boy is in the western paddies, where the first canister hit, burned, small body curled up, age 8. Duke picks him up. The body comes apart. The fire has destroyed everything. Duke puts the pieces down, sits there, doesn't move. Leti Hoa finds her 2 sons, both near the houses where the second canister hit, both burned, ages 10 and 7. She doesn't scream, doesn't cry, just kneels there between her 2 sons, staring. By noon, survivors have counted the dead, 47 people, 18 children under age 12, 16 women, 13 men. The survivors, 133 people, have nothing, no houses, no food, no possessions, everything burned. They gather in the tree line, sit, wait, don't know what to do. That evening, North Vietnamese army soldiers arrive, a small unit, maybe 10 soldiers. They assess the situation, count the dead, check the survivors. The NVA officer, a lieutenant name unknown, tells them, "You can't stay here. The Americans will come back. You need to leave." Some villagers want to stay. This is their home, their land. Their ancestors' graves are here. The lieutenant says, "Your ancestors' graves are burned. Your village is gone. If you stay, you'll die. The Americans will think you're Viet Cong. They'll kill you. Leave." Over the next 3 days, the survivors scatter. Some go to relatives in other villages. Some go to refugee camps near Hue. Some go north. Some go south. The village of Tan Phuong empties. On February 11th, 3 days after the strike, a US Marine patrol arrives at Tan Phuong. The patrol is from Hotel Company 2nd Battalion 5th Marines, led by Lieutenant James Bradley, 31 Marines total. Their mission: conduct battle damage assessment of the airstrike on February 8th, confirm enemy casualties, check for weapons or supplies, standard post-strike assessment. They reach Tan Phuong at 1400 hours, find the village deserted, burned, destroyed. Sergeant Marcus Williams, the patrol sergeant, walks through the village, sees the charred houses, the burned rice paddies, the bodies are still there. 47 of them. The survivors had no way to bury them, no tools, no time. They left them. Williams counts the bodies, documents locations, takes photographs. He has a Kodak Instamatic camera, his personal camera, takes photos of everything. He photographs the burned houses, the rice paddies, the bodies, gets close-up shots, documents ages where he can tell, children, women, elderly. He finds no weapons, no ammunition, no military equipment, no bunkers, no fortifications, no signs of NVA presence, just a burned village, dead civilians, cooking pots, agricultural tools, family possessions, civilian items. Williams shows Bradley what he found. Bradley says, "Document everything. We'll report this up the chain." Williams documents, photographs, takes notes. Grid coordinates, number of casualties, age estimates, location of bodies, condition of structures. They complete the assessment by 1600, return to Firebase Cunningham, submit report. The report says, village of Tan Phuong struck by airstrike February 8, 1968. Approximately 47 casualties observed. All appear to be civilian. No military equipment found, no weapons, no indication of enemy presence. Village appears to have been inhabited by farmers. Bradley's report is detailed. 3 pages. Includes descriptions, locations, casualty counts, photographs referenced. The report goes to battalion, then to regiment, then to division, then disappears. 5 days later, the official after-action report comes back from division headquarters. The official report says, airstrike on Tan Phuong village, February 8th, 1968.
Target, suspected Viet Cong staging area. Results, enemy staging area destroyed. Estimated 40-50 enemy casualties. No civilian casualties confirmed. Mission successful. Bradley reads this, shows Williams. Williams says, "That's not what we found. We found civilians, children, families, no weapons." Bradley says, "That's what I reported, but that's not what they determined." Williams says they're lying. Bradley says they're using different intelligence, different assessment. They determined this was an enemy area. Everyone in it was enemy. Williams says, "We have photographs, we have evidence." Bradley says, "And they have authority to classify it however they want. We reported what we saw. They decided what it means." Williams is angry, but he's a sergeant. He can't challenge division commanders. He keeps the photographs.
His personal camera, his personal film. He develops them when he gets back to Da Nang. keeps the negatives, keeps the prints, puts them in an envelope, writes Tan Phuong Feb 11, 1968 on it. He doesn't know why he keeps them. Just feels like they matter. Williams finishes his tour in August 1968, goes home, keeps the photographs, puts them in a box, same box with his other Vietnam materials, stores it in his closet. For 47 years, the photographs stay in that box. Meanwhile, the survivors of Tan Phuong are scattered across Vietnam. Nguyen Thi Lan settles in a refugee camp near Hue. She and her children lived there for 3 years. In 1971, she remarries a man from the camp. They move to his village. She has 2 more children, lives a hard life, farming, surviving. She doesn't talk about Tan Phuong, too painful. Tran Van Duc goes to his brother's village in Quang Binh province, lives there with his surviving family, never speaks about his youngest son, about watching him burn, about finding the body, just works, farms, survives. Lete Hoa goes north, lives in a village near Dong Hoi. Her surviving daughter stays with her. Hoa becomes quiet, withdrawn. She farms, cooks, does daily tasks. But she's not really there. Part of her died with her sons. The survivors don't organize, don't document, don't file complaints. They're villagers, farmers. They have no voice, no platform, no way to tell their story. In 1975, the war ends. Vietnam reunifies. The country begins rebuilding. Some Tan Phuong survivors try to return to the village, find it overgrown. Jungle reclaiming it. The foundations of houses still visible. The burned rice paddies now just grass and weeds. They try to rebuild, but the village is contaminated. The napalm left residue. The ground is toxic. Nothing grows properly. The water is bad. After a few months, they give up, leave. Tan Phuong remains abandoned. In 1985, the Vietnamese government begins documenting civilian casualties from the war. They interview survivors, document incidents, build records. A government official comes to Lê Thi Hoa's village, asks about her war experiences. She tells him about Tan Phuong, about February 8, 1968, about the napalm, about her sons. The official documents it, adds it to the national record. The record shows Tan Phuong village, Quang Tri province, bombed February 8, 1968. Estimated 47 civilian casualties. The record is filed, stored, becomes part of Vietnam's historical documentation.
In 1995, the United States and Vietnam normalize diplomatic relations, begin cooperation, exchange information, discuss war legacy issues. The Vietnamese government shares some civilian casualty records with US officials. Tan Phuong is in those records. The US military reviews it, checks their own records, finds the official after-action report from February 8, 1968. The report says, enemy staging area destroyed, 40 to 50 enemy casualties, no civilian casualties confirmed. The US tells Vietnam, our records show this was a legitimate military target. Enemy forces were present. The casualty assessment was enemy combatants. Vietnam says, our survivors say it was a civilian village, farmers, families, children. The US says, we understand there may be differing recollections, but our official assessment at the time determined this was a military target. The discussion goes nowhere. The US stands by their official record. Vietnam stands by survivor testimony. No resolution. In 2003, a Vietnamese journalist, Phan Thi Lan, no relation to Nguyen Thi Lan, begins researching civilian casualties from airstrikes. She's writing a book, documenting stories, interviewing survivors. She finds Nguyen Thi Lan in 2004. Lan is 64 years old, still living in her husband's village. Her children are grown. She has grandchildren. The journalist asks her about Tan Phuong. Lan tells the story, everything.
February 8th, 1968. The Napalm. Her husband Hai dying. The 47 casualties. Running to the tree line, leaving the village. The journalist documents it, records it, includes it in her book. Published 2006. Villages in Flames, Civilian Casualties of American Airstrikes, 1965 and 1973. The book includes Lan's testimony, includes testimonies from other survivors, Tran Van Duc, Leti Hoa, others. The book gets published in Vietnamese, gets some attention in Vietnam, but doesn't reach international audience, doesn't reach America. In 2010, Phan Thi Lan, the journalist, contacts the US Department of Defense, asks for records about Tan Phuong, cites the February 8, 1968 airstrike, asks if there are any documents that can confirm what happened. The DoD responds, "We can confirm an airstrike occurred on that date in that location. Our records indicate it was a successful strike against enemy forces. We cannot provide additional details about operational assessments. No acknowledgement of civilian casualties." No access to detailed records, just successful strike against enemy forces. The journalist tries other avenues, contacts veterans organizations, asks if anyone served in that area in early 1968, asks if anyone remembers Tan Phuong. She gets a few responses. Most say they don't remember. Some say they heard about it but weren't there. No direct witnesses. Then in 2015, something changes. Marcus Williams dies, age 75. He's the sergeant who took the photographs, who documented Tan Phuong 3 days after the strike. His daughter, Jennifer Williams, finds the box in his belongings, the box with Vietnam materials, opens it, finds photographs, dozens of them. Some are from the Swift 22 helicopter crash. That's documented elsewhere. But there's another envelope. Tan Phuong, Feb 11, 1968. Jennifer opens it, finds 24 photographs. Burned village. Charred houses, rice paddies, bodies, civilian bodies, children, women, elderly. She reads the note Williams wrote, Tan Phuong village, bombed Feb 8, 1968, assessed Feb 11, 1968. 47 civilian casualties confirmed, no military equipment found, no weapons, reports submitted, ignored. Jennifer contacts the Vietnam Center and Sam Johnson Vietnam Archive at Texas Tech University, same place her father's Swift 22 materials went, asks if they want these photographs. They absolutely want them. The photographs are accessioned in 2015, catalogued, digitized, made available to researchers. In 2016, a researcher at the archive, Dr. Sarah Mitchell, comes across them, reads Williams's notes, sees the photographs, recognizes the name, Tan Phuong. She'd read about it in Phan Thi Lan's book, the Vietnamese journalist's book about civilian casualties. Mitchell contacts Phan Thi Lan, says, "We have photographs. American sergeant took them. Day after the strike, they confirm civilian casualties." Phan Thi Lan is stunned. After 11 years of trying to prove what happened, after US government saying they have no records contradicting official assessment, here are photographs, American photographs, taken by American sergeant, proving civilian casualties. Mitchell and Phan work together. Compare Williams' photographs with survivor testimony, match locations, match casualty counts, match descriptions, everything matches. Williams' photographs confirm exactly what Lan, Duke and Hoa have been saying for 48 years. In 2017, they published joint article, Tan Phuong Village, Photographic Evidence of Civilian Casualties from February 1968 Airstrike. The article includes Williams' photographs, includes survivor testimony, includes comparison with official US records, shows the discrepancy clearly. The article gets attention, published in Journal of Vietnamese Studies, picked up by news outlets. The New York Times runs a story, BBC, others. the story reaches the Vietnamese survivors. Nguyen Thi Lan, now 77 years old, sees the photographs, sees the village she ran from, sees the bodies, sees evidence of what she's been saying for 49 years. She starts crying. Her daughter asks what's wrong. Lan says, "For 49 years people didn't believe us. They said we were exaggerating. They said it was war. Memory is unreliable. Now here are photographs, American photographs, proving we were right." Tran Van Duc is 94 years old. His mind is failing. But when his family shows him the photographs, he recognizes the village, recognizes the western paddies where he was working, where his son died. He nods, says quietly, "Yes, that's what happened." Lady Hoa died in 2012. Her daughter sees the photographs, says, "My mother told this story until she died. Nobody believed her. She would have been so relieved to see this proof." In 2018, the US Department of Defense responds to the article, issues statement, "We have reviewed the photographic evidence and survivor testimony regarding the February 8, 1968 airstrike on Tan Phuong village. While our official after-action report from that time assessed the target as an enemy staging area, the photographic evidence taken by Marine Sergeant Marcus Williams 3 days after the strike does appear to show civilian casualties and absence of military equipment."
We acknowledge that operational assessments during the war were sometimes made with incomplete information, and that civilian casualties did occur despite efforts to minimize them. We recognize the suffering of the survivors of Tan Phuong and their families. It's not quite an admission, not quite an apology, but it's acknowledgement. After 50 years, the US government acknowledges the photographs, acknowledges civilian casualties. In 2019, a delegation of researchers, American and Vietnamese, travels to the site of Tan Phuong village. They use Williams' photographs and survivor testimony to locate it precisely. They find the foundations, still visible under the jungle growth. The old rice paddies, the well, the tree line where survivors gathered. They document it, mark it, begin process of creating memorial. In 2020, the Vietnamese government installs a memorial at the site, black granite marker, lists the 47 names, the people who died February 8, 1968. The memorial includes a line, "Remembered through the testimony of survivors," and the photographs of an American Marine who documented the truth. The memorial dedication ceremony happens on February 8, 2020, 52 years after the strike. Nguyen Thi Lan attends. She's 80 years old. Her children and grandchildren are with her. She places flowers at the memorial, finds her husband's name, Nguyen Van Hai. A reporter asks her how she feels. She says, "For 52 years I've carried this, the memory, the loss, the frustration that nobody believed us. Now there's a memorial. Now there's proof. Now my grandchildren know what happened to their grandfather. That's what matters." Tran Van Duc died in 2019.
His family attends on his behalf, places flowers for him. For his son, who died at age 8, Lady Hoa's daughter attends, represents her mother, places flowers for the 2 brothers she lost, ages 10 and 7. 15 other survivor families attend, some survivors still alive, some represented by children or grandchildren. Jennifer Williams attends, represents her father. She speaks at the ceremony. "My father, Sergeant Marcus Williams, took these photographs because he believed the truth mattered. He saw 47 civilian casualties. He documented them. He submitted a report that was ignored. He kept the photographs for 47 years because he knew someday they would matter. He didn't live to see this memorial, but I think he would be proud that his photographs helped these families finally be heard, finally be believed." finally have their loved ones remembered. The Vietnamese government official says, "For 50 years we told this story. For 50 years we were not believed. The photographs proved we were telling the truth. The memorial ensures we will not be forgotten." After the ceremony, Lan stands at the memorial. Her grandson, age 17, named after her husband Hai, asks her, "What do you want people to know about that day?" She thinks, then says, "I want people to know we were not soldiers, we were farmers. We grew rice, we raised children, we lived peaceful lives. We didn't choose war. War came to us." On February 8, 1968, we were working in our paddies, normal day. Then aircraft came. Fire fell from the sky. In 10 minutes, 47 people died. My husband died. My home burned. My life ended. I survived another 52 years, but part of me died that day. Part of me is still running with my son on my back, still watching the fire, still looking for my husband, still living February 8th, 1968. The memorial doesn't bring them back, doesn't undo what happened, but it means someone remembers, someone believes us, someone wrote their names. That's something. The photographs that Williams took are now housed permanently at the Vietnam Center Archive, available to researchers, available to survivors' families, available to anyone who wants to see evidence of what happened. The photographs have been cited in 23 academic papers, referenced in 7 books about the Vietnam War, used in discussions about civilian casualties and rules of engagement. In 2021, the US and Vietnamese governments begin joint project, documenting civilian casualty sites from the war, creating database, building memorials, preserving history. Phuong is one of the first sites included. Williams's photographs are part of the official record. The project is ongoing, will take years, cost millions, but it's happening because of survivors who kept telling their stories, because of a journalist who believed them, because of an American sergeant who took photographs and kept them for 47 years. Nguyen Thi Lan died in 2022, age 82, surrounded by family. Her last words were reported by her daughter, "I saw it all. I remember everything. February 8th, 1968, the smoke, the fire, the running, Hai dying. The memorial has the names. The photographs prove it happened. People believe us now. I can rest." The memorial at Tan Phuong receives flowers every February 8th, placed by survivor families, by researchers who worked on the documentation, by Vietnamese veterans who remember the war. Some American veterans have visited, those who served in Quang Tri province, some who flew missions in 1968. They come to see, to understand, to remember. In 2023, a former A4 Skyhawk pilot, name withheld by request, visited the memorial. He'd flown missions in Quang Tri province in February 1968. He may have been one of the pilots who struck Tan Phuong. He doesn't know for certain. Records don't show individual pilot assignments for that specific mission. He stood at the memorial, read the names, looked at Williams' photographs displayed in the small museum nearby. A reporter asked what he felt. He said, "We were told it was an enemy staging area. We were told we were hitting military targets. We believed that. We dropped our ordnance where we were told to drop it. But these photographs, these names, these were people, families, children. If I was one of the pilots who did this, I have to live with that. I was following orders. But that doesn't change what happened. War is supposed to have rules, supposed to distinguish between military and civilian. But sometimes those rules fail. Sometimes the intelligence is wrong. Sometimes people die who shouldn't die. I can't undo it, can't bring them back. All I can do is stand here and acknowledge it happened, acknowledge they were real people, Not enemy combatants, just people. The photographs Marcus Williams took remain the most important documentation of what happened to Tan Phuong. Not because they show anything that survivors didn't already say, they said it all. For 50 years, but because Williams was American, Marine Sergeant, official documentation, military photographs. When Vietnamese survivors said it, they weren't believed. When American photographs showed it, suddenly it was real. That's the tragedy beyond the tragedy, that it took American evidence to make Vietnamese testimony believable. Lan knew the truth from the moment she started running. Duke knew when he found his son. Hoa knew when she saw her boys burning. They knew for 52 years, but nobody believed them until an American's photographs proved it. The memorial stands now. The photographs are preserved. The names are recorded. 47 people, farmers, families, children, who died because fire fell from the sky on a normal day in February 1968. They're remembered now, not because anyone chose to remember them, but because some people refused to let them be forgotten. Survivors who kept telling their story, even when nobody believed. A journalist who documented their testimony even when it was dismissed. An American sergeant who took photographs even when his report was ignored. A daughter who found those photographs and donated them, even though they were painful. Researchers who connected the evidence and published it, even when it challenged official narratives. That's how truth survives, not through official channels, not through proper procedures, not through governments admitting mistakes, through people who refuse to stay silent, through evidence that can't be destroyed, through witnesses who keep testifying until someone finally listens. Tan Phuong village is gone, reclaimed by jungle. Only the memorial remains. But the 47 people who died there are remembered. Their names are carved in granite. Their story is documented. Their truth is proven. They're remembered because Nguyen Thi Lan kept telling the story, because Marcus Williams kept the photographs, because Jennifer Williams shared them, because researchers believed survivors, because eventually, finally, the evidence was too strong to ignore. That's the story of what Vietnamese farmers remember about the day napalm fell on their village. They remember everything. They always did. And now, finally, someone believes them.